the next question is, how does graduate school differ from undergrad in terms of both social life and academic rigor? Now, I know only Lester and Andrew went to grad school. So, Andrew, I'll go with you first.
Thank you, Ben. So for everyone, I'm at law school. I think if you're thinking about law school, business school, or medical school, my answer is going to pertain to you more because these are all kind of like really set in stone programs where there's a lot of people in the same program. The programs are smaller than undergraduate schools, but they're still a lot bigger than, say, like a specific PhD program where you're going to have more control over your life and there's going to be a lot fewer people doing what you're doing. So for me, my social life is very similar to undergrad. I have a lot of people that I like see every day in class. It's kind of like high school. We see each other in class, we hang out. I have a group of friends that I'm really close with who are also law students. And business school is very much the same way. And I know the med students are like that too. In terms of academic rigor, though, for me, law school is more difficult and time consuming than undergrad. In undergrad, I would take about 20 credits a semester. And I found that my 20 credits in undergrad were about equivalent to like my current 14 or 16 credits, which is a normal course load with like 4 classes a week in law school. So it's definitely more difficult. I think another part of the difficulty is as you get higher up in the degrees, people who don't love school start weeding themselves out. And so you're only left with people who like to study or have a real reason for being there and have a goal and really care. So the competition, given that law school is on a curve, is kind of intense because everybody is pretty high achieving and cares a lot and has goals. But for social life, I really enjoy it. The other thing is that most grad students don't live on campus, they live by themselves. And so they have even more control over how they live their lives than undergraduate students. So I tend to cook everything for myself. And I have a car, for example, so I can go wherever I want. But yeah, those are the differences for me.
Awesome, thanks. Now, Andrew shed light on law school. Lester, let's get you to talk about business school.
Sure, thank you, Ben. I would say I'm kind of a unique case because at Rutgers, I did STEM, I did neuroscience, I did cell biology. So my curriculum was a little math heavy. I had a lot of lab courses. I was really sort of challenged to do more than just the course load. I also had labs, I had special sessions that I had to go to complete my degree. In that sense, I would say in my undergraduate experience, it is academically rigorous, particularly upfront. I recall my freshman and sophomore years were a little more rigorous. It was a little more, I sort of felt like, I was taking, Calc 1, Calc 2, Orgo 1, Orgo 2, Physics 1, Physics 2, and it was really a task of, as Andrew was touching on, sort of weeding out the students who, they really are not a fit for this particular program. And I felt that later in my degree, the rigor it wasn't easier, but it was different because I had already built kind of a backbone of basic knowledge in the topic areas that I was studying. I had some research experience at that point, but I was increasingly taking classes that had graduate students in them as well. So I was getting that sort of, more reading, the lab sessions were a little bit longer, things along those lines. I would say social life, early in my college career, was very open because everyone is doing Calc 1 and Calc 2. Everyone is doing organic chemistry. Everybody is doing, you can all commiserate. You can all kind of talk to each other and socialize with regard to where you are in your first few semesters. But as you progress on, I felt like my social life in my undergrad became a little disconnected as people started to pursue different routes. For example, some students really wanted to dive into the neuroscience. They went to a different part of campus than I did for my the latter part of my undergraduate career. That being said, in graduate school, I felt my social life was actually improved significantly. I was exposed to a much wider net of students, and I took the basis of my master's degree was actually in liberal arts. My master's degree was very writing heavy, writing intensive. So it was very much a degree where rather than dealing with linear algebra and rather than trying to find an optimization, what I was really challenged with was writing 70 pages on a critique of a method that was published 7 years ago that is now not effective, and trying to understand why this method is particularly not effective. So I would say in terms of academic experience, it really challenged the different halves of my brain. You know, in my early career, it was in the early part of my academic career, it was very, math and science heavy. In the latter part of my career, it was a little more writing intensive. But I would say my social life actually changed. And I had an opportunity to become more social in my graduate degree than in my undergrad. And I know that may sound a little bit strange, but graduate school can do that.